Brittany, now it's time for you to identify Kenneth as your ex. Honestly, at this point, send everybody home. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Roxy with Roxy Says, and we're gonna talk about it. Today, we are reviewing Love is Blind Season 6, Episode 8. Let's get straight into it, but before we do, please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. All right, let's go. So we are 20 days away from the weddings, and in this episode, the couples are visiting each other's homes. We see Jimmy, he goes to Chelsea's place, and he meets her roommate, who he doesn't like too much because he feels like she is a bit too much. And I'm like, yeah, that's why her and Chelsea are friends. Have you seen how Chelsea is? But anyway, we go to Jimmy's apartment. His apartment is cute, it's clean, and both Jimmy and Chelsea are excited for her to move into his place. Next, we see Clay, and he has a nice home that he bought in 2021. I think that Clay is the only homeowner on the show. Good for you, Clay. The house is clean. He has a vision board. He has his jerseys up. His closet is nice and organized. And he says that he is already paying that mortgage. So all AD has to do is move her fine behind in. And I'm like, yes, period, AD, but still no. And AD says that she can definitely see herself living with Clay. And Clay was looking kind of cute today in those little glasses. I can't lie. He was looking kind of handsome, but still no. So next we see Jeremy and Laura, and Jeremy definitely was not lying when he said that he is clean and that he is a neat freak, okay? And I have to say the men this season are doing way better than the men in previous seasons with these home visits. These men, they got it together, okay? They have glasses, they have utensils, they have plates. And we see Laura, she is inspecting Jeremy's kitchen, and she's saying that she's pleasantly surprised, but that the home looks staged. And in all honesty, the way that Laura was going through everything, I thought that I was watching an episode of Room Raiders. I was waiting for her to pull out that black light when they got to the bedroom. But anyway, Jeremy shows Laura her CPAP machine. Overall, it's a cute visit, but I feel like Laura was really looking for something that she could criticize, because we see throughout these episodes, she does love to criticize Jeremy. If it's not his clothes, his Hawaiian shirts, it's what he wears to the airport. Child, Laura's a lot. Next, we see Brittany and Kenneth. They go over to Kenneth's home. Kenneth has a cute little twist out today. I'm like, okay, Kenneth, I see you. Kenneth is showing her around. She looks in the fridge. She really has nothing in the fridge. She just has a couple of spices in the cabinet. But then we see a confessional, and Brittany says that she had a discussion with Kenneth where she realized that she has a tendency to overanalyze things. And just because he acts a certain way doesn't necessarily mean that he's upset. Sometimes he just needs a moment. And I'm like, girl, is that what he told you? That you're overanalyzing things? Not Kenneth gaslighting. So they sit down to have a conversation, and Kenneth is on his phone while Brittany is speaking. I would have sat there in silence until he put that damn phone down, or I would have excused myself and let him know he can come find me when he's ready to give me his undivided attention, because this is an important conversation. I'm not going to be speaking to you and you're looking at your phone. Hell no, okay? But the way that Kenneth flips everything in this scene, he tells Brittany that everyone is not always gonna be in the best mood, and he needs to know that she won't overthink things, as if to make her feel like she's not giving him enough grace, which really pisses me off because, like I said in my previous video, Brittany has given Kenneth so much grace. Brittany is trying with Kenneth, and every conversation with him is like pulling teeth. And then right after the conversation, he picks his phone right back on up. And in this scene, I was like, oh my gosh, I fucking hate Kenneth. Next, we see Chelsea's friends. They come over, and she does her signature T-Rex run over to them. You know it ain't Chelsea if she ain't doing that T-Rex run, child. And they're all excited. Chelsea is showing them the ring. They're talking about the experience. Then they have a very interesting conversation about the experience. Chelsea is very proud to let her friends know that she got the guy that most of the other girls wanted. She tells them about Trevor, and that he told her that he loved her, and that he told her that he wasn't dating anyone else, and that he proposed. I feel like this is the first and only time that Chelsea has ever been able to tell her friends a story like this. And she's loving every minute of it. But what we don't hear her tell her friends is why she picked Jimmy over Trevor. But you and I, We know exactly why Chelsea picked Jimmy over Trevor. Choosing Trevor, the guy that was only dating her, wouldn't have given her the validation that she needs. Chelsea wanted the guy who she knew that all of the other girls wanted, especially Jessica. And that is exactly why when they were in the pods and she was breaking up with Trevor and he asked her, how are you picking him over me? She couldn't answer the question because the honest answer would have been, I have a lot of insecurities and it would make me feel so good to say that this time I got the guy that all of the other girls wanted. But of course, she can't say that out loud. Then she tells the ladies that Jimmy hasn't been affectionate with her. And yesterday, Jimmy saw a picture of Jessica and she's super gorgeous. And she doesn't know if that has been messing with Jimmy's mind. So next we see Jimmy, he comes downstairs and he's telling her friends about the experience and about having more than one connection. And while he is telling this story, Chelsea is looking at Jimmy like, you better not F this up. You better not say something that I don't want you to say. She looks so nervous, okay? Chelsea's friends do confirm that they have witnessed people tell her that she looks like Carrie Underwood and Megan Fox. And child, I just know Megan Fox can't wait for this season of Love is Blind to be over. I know Megan Fox is sick of Chelsea and all of us, okay? So next we see Johnny and he goes to Amy's place and after looking around, they get into the conversation about money. I love seeing these conversations because I know it makes people hella uncomfortable, but it is so important. You have to discuss money, credit, all of those things, okay? So Johnny is clearly the planner. He's the saver. He wants to retire early. He wants to buy a home, all of that. Johnny and I are on the same page. I am a budgeter. I got spreadsheets. I got budget apps. I love budgeting. I love budgeting, okay? But Amy is more of a live in the moment type of person. And usually the dynamic within most relationships is exactly that. You have someone who's more frugal, and then you have someone who is more of a spender. And then the two of you just have to come together and find a healthy balance that works for you guys, right? So Johnny wants to be financially secure before having kids. And Amy says that her timeline is 5 years. Johnny is fully aware and terrified of the financial obligation that it takes to raise children. And he wants to make sure that he's fully prepared so that his kids don't experience the same type of childhood that he did. Then Johnny gives a hypothetical of what if they were to get pregnant in a year? What would happen? And in all honesty, Johnny really just wanted to ask Amy if she would get a shmushmortion. That was his way of asking, like, if you get pregnant, what you doing? That's really what he wanted to ask, okay? But from Amy's answer, you can clearly tell that she's definitely open to altering that 5-year timeline. And if she was to get pregnant, they just gonna have to make it work, okay? And Johnny's like, yeah, no, that cannot happen. Johnny does not want to alter that timeline. Amy is open to altering that timeline in the event that she was to get pregnant. Amy does not want to go on birth control. And I don't blame her. Obviously, everyone's body is different, but birth control can have many adverse effects on women's bodies. If she's open to other forms of birth control, maybe she can try an IUD, the Paragard with the copper wire. They can track ovulation. They can use protection. Like there are so many other things that can be done for Amy to not have to go on birth control, alter her hormones and everything else that comes along with it, okay? But Amy also reminds Johnny like, yeah, you could get a vasectomy. And he claims that he is open to it. I think that he's just giving a nice guy answer. But I don't think that Johnny is truly open to having a vasectomy. He's used to all of his girlfriends being on birth control. So in Amy's confessional, she says that they haven't been intimate and that this has been a big roadblock for them. And I was confused in the scene because I thought that they said that they were sleeping. Well, they didn't say that they were sleeping together, but they gave the impression like, oh, they got really comfy the first night in the honeymoon. So now I'm like, have they not been sleeping together? Child, I don't know. But she also says that using condoms isn't enough for Johnny. And I'm like, okay, bye, Johnny. So you just want to have unprotected sex with Amy. So she needs to get on birth control. You don't want to use condoms. You don't want to. Child, here's the thing. Johnny is the one who is super rigid about this 5-year timeline, okay? Amy is more willing to adjust. If something was to occur that wasn't in the plan, she's okay with it. She's cool with it. Clearly, this timeline is way more important to Johnny than to Amy. So since it's so important to you, Johnny, take your ass down to the doctor and get a vasectomy. You can reverse it. But Johnny does say that it needs to be decided before the wedding and that it is a deal breaker. And he's 100% right. I hope that Amy keeps the same energy as well. I don't see either of them budging on this. I hope they break up and they find people who they're more in tune with when coming to methods of birth control. That's it, because who has time to go back and forth about this? And after this conversation, I was like, yeah, no, I don't have any faith in Amy and Johnny anymore, okay? Next, we see Brittany and Kenneth is talking with food in his mouth, which was absolutely disgusting. I had to put on the subtitles because I couldn't even understand what he was. Oh, it was so disgusting. Anyways, apparently Kenneth went to get his hair twisted the night before. Then he went to see a mentor, and then he came up very late and woke Brittany up when he knew that she had to be up at 5 a.m. the next morning for work. Again, Brittany is asking for intimacy. She says that she doesn't feel that crave and that desire from Kenneth, and she feels like that is the one thing that's missing in their relationship. And he's like, for you, flipping it again. And he says, well, if you lack those feelings for me, thanks for letting me know. And in my last review, I know I said that Kenneth needs to just break up with Brittany because she's really trying. He clearly wants to be with a Black woman, so maybe he should just get with the Black woman. And after this scene, I was like, on second thought, don't even get with the Black woman. Just spend some time with yourself. Whatever you got going on, just spend some time with yourself, work that out. And hopefully after that introspection and that self-reflection, you'll know what it is that you truly want, okay? But don't get with any Black women either. Because right now, what it's giving is this.
Why let what I do shape your opinion of me? Yeah, I'm doing these things. Yeah, you see me doing these things. Yeah, I know I'm doing these things. But why are you believing that I'm doing these things? That's why we not gonna work out.
And in all honesty, all Kenneth is doing in this conversation is gaslighting Brittany, making her feel like she's crazy, making her think that she's making things up in her head. And he says, when I came home that night, I was touching you and you kind of just brushed me off. Yeah, because it was late and you woke her up and she had work at 5 a.m. And he's trying to use that as an example of Brittany not showing him affection when we have seen Brittany trying to be affectionate and asking Kenneth for affection since they've been on the honeymoon. Like, Kenneth, stop playing. I've been carrying AD under one wing. Now I'm putting Brittany under this wing because, baby, Brittany, my sweet baby, don't let this man play with you. Kenneth, I'll give you this. You are good. You had a lot of people fooled. I hated that for her. And the whole time I was just thinking, Brittany, now it's time for you to identify Kenneth as your ex. And we see even when she starts to cry, he doesn't get up. He's not moved. He doesn't try to comfort her. He just looks at her. Pay attention to that. If your partner lacks empathy, if they're unmoved by your emotions, if they're annoyed by your emotions, when you're hurting, when you're sad, pay very, very close attention to that. That is a huge red flag, okay? And then he just picks up his sippy cup and he goes back on his phone. And I was like, okay, well, that was a horrible conversation. But wait, it gets worse because 2 seconds later, he says this.
I also love myself too much. And I've also overcome so much just to force something just because. It's not fair to me or you. This is not going to work. Give me a hug so you know it's no beef. You hurt. You hurt? Okay.
And when I tell you I had to stop and rewind because I'm like, did I miss something? So if you knew that you were going to break up with her, why did you do all of that? Why did you take her through all of that? Why did you do that? That was really cold. That was really mean. And then he just picks up the phone again, calls his friend and tells him to come pick him up. And I know a lot of y'all was in love with Kenneth. I know after this episode, a lot of you all were shocked, were sad, were appalled. And when I do reviews, I try not to label someone as like, oh, this is the one villain, that's the one villain. Because I know a lot of times when people watch these shows, they get into this or that mindset where there can only be one villain. So I try not to like label people as the villain. But Kenneth is the worst. Yeah, I think Kenneth is the worst. Maybe if Matthew had made it to the stage, he would have gave Kenneth a run for his money. But right now, Kenneth is in the lead. So then right after that, we get another scene of Chelsea, and she's complaining about Jimmy not being up her ass all day. She says he didn't ask her about her eyebrows. He didn't kiss her all day. He didn't tell her that she was pretty today. He didn't tell her that he was excited to wake up and spend the day with her. And I'm like, girl, wasn't he working? And weren't you spending time with your friends? And when he was done with work, he came downstairs to mingle with you and your friends. And then Jimmy actually has to correct her. And he says, babe, actually, I did kiss you 3 times today. And she was like,
oh, sorry.
Chelsea is clearly overanalyzing everything because she is absolutely shook that Jimmy saw a picture of Jess. So it turns out that Jeremy, with his messy ass, okay, Jeremy is just as messy as his fiance Laura. They two messy peas in a pod. But Jeremy showed Jimmy Jessica's Instagram. And Jimmy, wanting to be an honest person, told Chelsea that he saw Jessica, okay? And Chelsea starts projecting because she's insecure, okay? Then she gets on Jimmy for the way that he says, I love you. And I had to pause my computer and I just thought, this is edited. So I can only imagine how much other shit she was complaining about in this scene. I was actually starting to feel sorry for Jimmy, but wait, there's more. Jimmy tells her that she's kind of clingy. Child, why did Jimmy tell this lady that? Why did Jimmy say that? And she goes off.
You want me to give you more love and affection, and I feel like you're giving me too much.
Clingy?
I felt like...
Are you fucking kidding me? You mean you're calling me clingy? That was fucking rude.
He says, I've told you that I love you more than all of the other fiancés here. And she says, I don't give a shit about that. Which is a damn lie, because remember the night on the beach? All she was doing was comparing what the other fiancés were doing. Remember, she got home and she was crying and she was like,
Oh, well, all of the other guys, they were all over their fiancés and now...
So you do care. Now you don't care because it's not in your favor. Chelsea, please. Please, we are tired. Chelsea, please. Chelsea, we are tired. We are. Then she says that she's given 100% in all of her past relationships. Now, would Jimmy have been wrong to say he don't give a shit about that? Because that's what I would have said. That's what I would have said. I don't give a shit about that the same way that you don't give a shit about the fiancés that you just spoke about. Because what the hell does what you did with your exes have to do with me? And we know that Chelsea has been cheated on in her past relationships. Are you now making Jimmy pay for what your exes did? I can't believe this girl got me defending Jimmy. That's how bad Chelsea is. I am sitting here defending Jimmy because honestly, this was madness. And then again, Chelsea tells Jimmy that he did not kiss her once today. Sis, a few minutes ago, did you not just apologize for saying that when Jimmy reminded you that he actually did kiss you today? I honestly hope that that was an editing mistake, because if it actually went in the timeline in which we saw it, Jimmy, good luck. And every time I think this conversation is over, it gets worse. Then Chelsea tells Jimmy that he has been digging for shit since he saw Jessica's picture. No, Chelsea, you have been digging for shit since he told you that he saw Jessica's picture. This is some really unstable behavior. And I don't know how many times I've already said it in this scene alone, but it gets even worse. Oh my goodness. Next, Chelsea brings up all of the things that she did for Jimmy. And she also says that she even had sex with him. And he was like, well, since we're talking about sex, you're the one who wanted to have sex. And in all honesty, I kind of wanted a break from that too.
And watch your fucking show with you. And you say I'm too clingy. And then went upstairs and had sex with you? And I'm too clingy? No, this is bullshit. This is fucking bullshit. So fucking...
Well, if you're gonna bring up the sex, you're the one that wanted to have sex.
Yeah, I
also,
did.
Maybe wanted a little breather from that too.
Chelsea, I'm gonna even call you baby. Chelsea. Chelsea, baby. You picked the guy who you knew was not 100% about you. And now you're expecting said guy to act like he is 100% about you. You actually had feelings for Trevor. Trevor had the body type that you usually go for. He has the muscles, he has the mullet, but you picked Jimmy. Now you got Jimmy. And in all honesty, I am so happy that Trevor is not dealing with this, because I don't even think he deserves this. So next, we see Jess and Laura, and they meet up. Did y'all hear Jess when she said that she got back home and she took 2 days before texting her daughter and letting her know that she was back home? I found that kind of strange. I would think when I got back home, the first thing I want to do is see my, whatever. I don't know, maybe she has her reasons, but I found that to be kind of strange. So Jessica says that Jimmy actually sent her a friend request on Instagram the day they got their phones back. But when she went back to check said Instagram request, he deleted his request and then he privated his page. And Laura says, so you're not repulsed by him? So I took that as Laura not thinking that Jimmy is too easy on the eyes. But Jess says no, she doesn't think that he's butt ugly, but they both agree that they love his voice. Okay, next we find out that Sarah DM'd Jeremy, and Sarah pretty much told Jeremy like, hey, if your mind is shifting in your choice, call me, okay? She didn't say it in those exact words, but she pretty much said, if you're not 100% sure about your choice, I'm here to talk, okay? And of course, Laura is upset about it because they are engaged, and it definitely was disrespectful for Sarah to send Jeremy a DM like that, okay? Jessica says she's still not over Jimmy, and I'm like, girl, Jessica, are you trolling us? Are you serious? And Jess also said that she saw Jimmy's exes and all of them look like her. So she knows that when Jimmy finally sees her in person, it's going to be like a dangling temptation in front of his face. I cannot wait until Jimmy finally sees Jessica in person, especially because Chelsea has been so irritating, because I know he probably going to be like, damn, I'll take the kid. You got 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids. I don't care. Anything will be better than this. Give me all the kids. Give me all the kids you got. Please. So that was episode 8, y'all. Tell me all your thoughts below about Kenneth breaking up with Brittany. Kenneth, what the hell? About Chelsea and Jimmy. I still haven't seen episode 9, so please no spoilers. I will get that out to you ASAP. Don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye!
Roxy says we're gonna talk.